Have you ever wondered how something like a massive database can find one tiny piece of information almost instantly? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the core algorithms that makes it all possible, the super elegant and powerful binary search. Honestly, it's a fundamental concept that's all about working smarter, not harder.
But, before we can really appreciate the brilliant solution, we've got to understand the problem itself. And it's a challenge that, let's be real, every single programmer faces at some point, the problem of scale.
So let's just imagine for a second you're a programmer. You get handed a list of data. The good news? It's perfectly sorted. The bad news is that it is absolutely ridiculously massive.
And when I say massive, I mean, let's just say it's got 1 million items. And your job, it sounds simple enough, is to find one specific item in that giant sea of data.
So what's your first instinct? I mean, the most obvious way is to just start at the beginning and check every single item, one by one. That's called a linear search. But in the worst case, that's 1 million checks. There has to be a better way, right?
Oh, there absolutely is. And the solution isn't about more power or faster computers. It's about a much more clever strategy. It's this beautiful approach called divide and conquer.
And that brings us to the binary search. Its entire power comes from one simple, crucial fact. The list is sorted. And because it's sorted, we don't have to check every item. We can be smart about it, repeatedly chopping our search space in half until we've basically cornered our target.
So here's the difference in a nutshell. A linear search is kind of like trying to find a word in the dictionary by starting on page 1 and reading every single page. A binary search is like opening the dictionary right to the middle, deciding if your word is in the first or second half, and then literally throwing away the half you don't need. It is just a fundamentally smarter way to work.
Okay, theory is great and all, but let's actually see this thing in action. I'm going to walk you through a really simple example so you can see exactly how this works, step by step.
At its heart, the whole algorithm is just this simple, elegant loop. You find the middle, you make one comparison, and you throw away half of the problem. Then you just do it again on the smaller piece that's left over. That's it.
All right, so for our walkthrough, we're going to be looking for the number 5 in this simple sorted array of 7 numbers. Easy enough.
Okay, first step. We look at the whole array and we find the middle element, which is 4. So we ask ourselves, is 4 our target? Nope. Is it smaller than our target, which is 5? Yes, it is. And because the list is sorted, that tells us our target has to be in the right half. So we can just completely ignore the entire left half. Gone.
Okay, so now our search area is way smaller, just the numbers 5, 6, and 7. And we just repeat the process. The middle of this little list is 6. We compare again. Is 6 bigger than our target, 5? Yup, so this time we know our number must be to the left, and we can discard the right half.
And just like that, we're left with a single number, 5. Is it our target? Yes, it is. We found it. And think about that for a second. For a list of 7 items, it only took us 3 checks to find our number.
So that's the classic binary search. But the challenge we're digging into today adds this really fascinating twist. See, it's not just about finding the number.
The challenge specifically asks us to show our work. It wants us to return the actual path we took to get there, the sequence of all the middle values we checked along the way.
So what this means is our function can't just return, true or false. It has to actually keep a log of every middle value it checks, and then return that whole path as an array. And of course, if the value isn't there, it has to tell us that too.
So if we look back at that little trace we just did, the right answer for this specific challenge wouldn't just be the number 5. It would be this array right here, 4, 6, and 5. That's the exact path of our comparisons.
And there is one last really critical rule we have to follow. What happens if your array has an even number of items, right? There's no single middle. Well, in this case, the rule is you always have to round down to find the index. And this isn't just some random choice. It's what makes sure your search path is consistent and predictable every single time.
So why do we care so much about this algorithm? I mean, why is cutting the problem in half over and over again such a total game changer?
Well, it all comes down to its unbelievable efficiency. In the world of computer science, we call this logarithmic time, or O of log n. The easiest way to think about it is this. For every one extra step you allow the search to take, you can handle a list that's twice as big. The search time barely even budges, even when the amount of data absolutely explodes. That's what makes it so mind-blowingly powerful.
I mean, this table just makes the difference so incredibly clear. Just look at these numbers. For a list of 1,000 items, a linear search could take 1,000 steps. Binary search, 10 max. Now let's scale that up to 1,000,000 items. Linear search could take 1,000,000 steps. Binary search will find it in about 20. The difference is just, it's staggering.
And that right there, that's the real-world impact. As data gets bigger and bigger, this isn't just the difference between fast and slow, it's the difference between a task that feels totally instantaneous and one that is, for all practical purposes, completely impossible to even run.
And that leaves us with this final, really powerful idea. Divide and conquer isn't just for writing code. It's a mental model for solving almost any complex problem. So the question I'll leave you with is this. What seemingly impossible problem in your world could be solved if you just found the right way to cut it in half?